Hey crafters! Okay, I made a file, another Cricut SVG file. You can use this, well, not just in Cricut, in any of the cutting machines that will take an SVG upload. You can make this sunflower. This is the leggier version of a sunflower, so it's got a nice seedy center and then long petals. However, if you wanted to, you could actually just cut more of the fringe pieces. You'll see when we assemble how that all goes together. And you can extend and make this larger, and you can actually shrink the length of the petals if you choose to. Now that might be a little more advanced. You'd have to be able to get into your design space or whatever version you're using and make some adjustments to the size or height of the petals. But you could make them shorter and squattier and make a little more of that large centered, shorter legged, shorter petaled sunflower. So that's an option. But I kept this one in the easy format, so you can just upload the SVG file to Design Space, click on Make It, make some small adjustments to the paper size on your mats, cut it and assemble it. So let's go check this out. Let's get into Design Space and see what we did. So to make our sunflower, we come in here to Cricut Design Space, and I'm already logged in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new project by clicking on this new project right here. Click on the big plus sign, and that's going to open up my canvas for me. Now in my canvas along this left-hand side, I'm going to come all the way down here to the very bottom where it says Upload, because we're uploading a design file. Now what I'm going to do is my design is not already in here, so I'm going to come to Upload Images. Then I'm going to go to Browse. For my flower, I'm going to come into my design templates in my computer because I created it, so that's where it lives on my computer. So I'm just going to come here to the SVG file version of the sunflower, double click that, and it's going to open up. Now over here I've already got the image name, the sunflower. Down on the tags, though, I'm going to put in that it's a large paper flower. That just gives me some more search features. Click on Save, and that will now become one of my uploads. So it's right here. It's the first one on the far left-hand side. So I'm going to just click that once and highlight it. You'll see that green around it. Insert the image. Okay, so our image has uploaded, and now what I'm going to do is it's already sized exactly the way I want it. So I'm just going to come over here and click on Make It. Now if you choose to resize it, you are welcome to do so. And if you like the new size, make sure you save that, and it'll save all the different changes that you make once you're done creating your design. Now once you come over here to our mats, there is one more thing that you need to change depending on the size of paper. These mats automatically go to 12 by 12, but I found all this beautiful flower petal paper in 8.5 by 11. So I'm just going to come up here and I'm going to change this orange colored cut into 8.5 by 11. That's going to automatically shift all of the orange colored mats. But if I come down here to my yellows, they're still 12 by 12. Well, actually, my black paper that I'm going to use for this, where it says yellow, it's actually going to be black paper that I cut. I actually have 12 by 12 sheets, so I'm going to leave those alone. But the rest of them, all the petals and everything, is on 8.5 by 11. So where the green is, which is my medium size petal, I'm going to change that to 8.5 by 11. On the blue, that's my small petal. We'll change that to 8.5 by 11. The pink is also going to cut out on 8.5 by 11 paper. So you just convert this based on the type of paper that you have. My last little circle there, I could change the color of the circle since I know that I'm going to have extra room, for example, on this pink. I could change that to pink and it would cut along with those petals. So that's another thing that you can do within Design Space. But I'm just going to, for now, just switch that to 8.5 by 11. So now I'm done. I've got everything set on my mats, and I'm just going to come over here, click Continue. If you are not yet connected to your machine, make sure you are connected. I already am. And then I'm going to come over here and click on Popular on the materials. I'm working with a cardstock that's 65 pounds, so I click on the light cardstock, the 60 pound. After I set it to 60 pound, I come over here to pressure, and instead of default, I just click more. And that's it. Everything else is going to happen at the machine. So now we're at our machine. We're simply going to place our mat, bring it right up to these wheels, hit the load button, and then hit the Cricut Go button. Okay, so we have cut out all of our pieces for our sunflower, and now we're going to go ahead and begin assembly. So to make the center, we're going to start with one black strip, and these are fringed, and one brown strip. Let me set these aside. We're going to just add a little bit of glue right here in the center. Bring this brown strip onto here and just glue that down. And I just do a little bit at a time. If you get any little glue that comes out, I'm finding that the hot isn't too hot for you to grab that little bit and just peel it off, and I usually end up with a little pile of little glue bits that I pull off the flower just because I don't want them to be there, not if I don't have to have them. Bring that down a little bit more. And it's a little hard to start the center, but then it gets really easy as you get bigger and bigger. So once you have that done, go ahead, and it's going to be a little bulky to roll it, but that's okay. It just gives a little openness to the center because it's rather a tight rolled center. And what I'm doing is I am actually going to just pre-roll this a little bit, and then I'm going to unroll and come back and get a little glue. And I do that for the very middle of the flower. I don't necessarily do that through the rest of it. Okay, so I just got it a little bit pre-rolled there. So now I'm going to come back in, and then I'm going to start gluing it. Now the center, I went ahead and just made a little roll here, and then just add a little glue. It doesn't really need glue on every little bit because you've already put the two pieces of paper together, but you do want to try and keep that very even at the bottom. And this part at the bottom will start to feel a little bulky because of the glue, and this will get looser. So just try to keep everything lined up evenly and don't falter and start squeezing the end here together because this will just get really kind of weird. And just bring a little more glue in there. Keep rolling that up. Got a little bit of that glue bit coming up, and even with this super hot temp, it hasn't really been a problem for my fingers. I'm not really putting my hands in it. I'm trying not to do that. Make sure on the end you do get a little bit of glue there. Alright, so there is two of our center bits. Give that a sec. Okay, so I've got this piece. Now I'm going to take another set. One black, one brown. The black is always going to be on the outside, so I'm always going to leave that brown on top and start rolling with the brown on the black. That's just me. You can do it however you want, really. But I'm going to go ahead and on this one do the same thing. I'm going to pre-glue them two pieces together. It's a fairly narrow strip of glue. Get that little end there. And as the center gets bigger, this gets a little easier because it's not quite so tight. Now you could go ahead and just sort of flex it a little bit this time. You don't need to roll it so tight because now you have something to work with. So just give it a little bend. Then bring your smaller piece of the center in. Get a little glue on here. And just keep going. Keep rolling that up. Okay, so once you have all of your brown and black strips together and glued together, you can now just take that center, hold it pretty firmly so it doesn't fall apart on you at all, and just flare those just a little. Just bring those out a little bit. While I'm doing that, I'm holding this pretty tight. I'm also kind of pushing with my hand and then using my thumb to peel them out. I'm just trying to make sure I don't pull any of the gluing that I just did. I just want to, have a little bit of movement through here. You can see that's packed pretty darn tight, and I want that. But I do want it to flare out a little bit. There we go. Kind of crumple, kind of bend those ends. All right, that's looking like a really great center for our sunflower. Okay, so we're going to go ahead now and actually put the center on our backing, because that's going to just let me know how much room I have to work with so I can put the petals on. So I kind of just took my glue gun and I dotted here in the center and just kind of looked at it and said, am I close there? And it looks like I am. So what I'm going to do is just really load this up with glue. And once you get it on there, when it gets a little hard to push, that's kind of all the glue you have. That's all the hot part. And then just do your best to line that up. And I've got to take a look here. Okay, that looks pretty good. You do have a minute to kind of, squish it around a little. All right, there we go. We're ready now. The last part is to put all of our layers of petals on. There's 3 layers. And the way I did the petals, I wanted some body to the flower. So I'm starting with the largest petal. And I took all of my petals and actually folded them in half. And I've got my bone folder here. And they really do look nice when you use the bone folder for this. So now you could get really, really precise and get in there and make sure you're super lined up, or you can get a little messy with it too. But you basically just want all your petals to have a nice little V shape. So I'm going to do that to all of the petals, and then we'll come back and start gluing. Okay, as you can see, our petals are all folded in the center, ready to go. That's large, medium, and small. The large is going to go first, and they'll be the outer edge. So what I'm going to do is just come in, and I want to actually look at about 1/3 of the measure. That's why I was trying to make sure I was pretty centered. It's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. But as I'm going around, I want to use about 1/3 of that space. So I'm going to go ahead and put a little dot of glue here. Get that petal put down. Now it's going to flatten out here, but it'll still keep its shape over here. This next row, I actually don't put in the 4 corners anymore because it's just one's going to go in between each petal. And then when I get to the last row, it's going to repeat and do the same thing, one in between each petal. Okay, look at this. It's all done, glued in place. You can now really press down on this. Get these little petals to flip down a little bit here and just look nice and seedy still in the middle. That's going to look great. And then you have some choices here. Right now everything's projecting up. It doesn't have to. You can take your bone folder and take some of your pieces and curl them under and decide if you want to have, you know, just some movement in the flower where not everything's in the same direction. There you go, a nice beautiful sunflower, and the pattern is available on craftcuriosity.com.